When Alyona graduated from high school, her life was set for years to come. She met Kirill 2 years ago. The acquaintance was banal. A guy just approached her on the street. "Hello, beautiful stranger. My name is Kirill. Would you like to keep me company and walk together in the park?" "And I'm Alyona." The girl smiled. "Beautiful name. Let's go for a walk." Alyona, without a moment's hesitation, offered the guy, who fell in love at first sight. So began their strong friendship, which grew into a great love. They met for more than a year. When Kirill wanted to introduce his beloved to his mother, he warned his mother, Nina Sergeyevna, that in the evening she would have a surprise. "It is necessary to set the table and wait for the guest." As ordered, Kirill's mother set a sumptuous table and waited for her son. Kirill entered the apartment with a young girl and solemnly said, "Meet, mother, this is Alyona, my favorite." Nina Sergeyevna was taken aback, but quickly pulled herself together and said, "Very nice to meet you. My name is Nina Sergeyevna." In the soul of the woman everything was boiling with anger. What kind of news is this? Kiryusha is still young, and with such a predator, very modest in appearance, he will quickly grow a family in Pishigan and career, and a prosperous life. Of course, the mother knew that sooner or later her son will have a family, but she hoped that it would not be soon, and when the time came, she will be related to some rich or at least more or less well-to-do family. And here's some simple girl, just a young girl. This one would certainly make her son have a family. At the table Nina Sergeyevna behaved very courteously, as a lady of the house should, but when dinner came to an end, quickly said goodbye to the girl and, citing ill health, asked her son to stay. Alyona assured the young man that she would get there perfectly well on her own, and it was better for him to stay near his mother. Having kissed her beloved on the cheek, the girl left. "Kirill, I'm not quite clear. What was it? Who is that girl?" Nina Sergeyevna struggled to find the words. "Mom, what's unclear?" "This is my favorite girl, Kiryusha. I raised you alone. Your father died when you were only 5 years old. I put my whole life so that you had everything. I wanted the best future for you. And now what? This girl with no family and no tribe is going to ruin your life." "Mom, I repeat, I love Alyona. She's a wonderful girl. You shouldn't talk about her like that. You don't know her at all." "I don't need to know her to get an impression of her. She's not your match. Let me decide who I love. I'm going to marry her in 6 months when she turns 18. We've already decided that. I will never consent to this marriage." Mother theatrically fell into a chair. Kirill sat down beside his mother, took her hand and calmly said, "Mom, I do not need your consent. This issue has been resolved. Just accept my choice." Kirill did not bring the bride home anymore. Alyona graduated from school and, as planned, she and Kirill filed an application to the registry office. The happy groom gave the bride a big bouquet of flowers and asked, "Alyonka, my love, maybe we'll move in with me right away. Why wait? And we will prepare for the wedding together with Mom." "No, my love, that's not the way it's done. I want everything to be according to the rules. After the registry office you will carry me in your arms across the threshold of your house, and you will buy the bride at your parents' house." All the pre-wedding troubles flew by quickly. The wedding day came. The party was a success, but only one unpleasant moment marred the celebration. The groom's mother was not at the wedding. She wasn't feeling well. Of course, Cyril knew that the mother to the last will prevent his marriage, but did not tell his beloved. So began the life of a young daughter-in-law in the same house with her mother-in-law. Nina Sergeyevna did everything to make the life of newlyweds become unbearable. With her son, she behaved like an unhappy person who do not give a life in his own house. When Kirill was near, Nina Sergeyevna said incessantly, as she felt sorry for her son, that Alyona's hands grow from the wrong side, that this wife cannot even cook a normal meal, and does not know which side to iron shirts. The son only waved it off. "Mom, she's still very young, but you can see she's trying. She'll learn everything in time. And by the way, I like how my wife cooks," said Kirill resentfully. Alyona did not understand why her mother-in-law does not like her so much. After all, they both love Kirill, both want to make his life better. But her mother-in-law mercilessly nagged her every day. As soon as her husband went to work, it seemed to the girl that Nina Sergeyevna set a goal to divorce her from her husband. Malicious to her, even in small things, sprinkled salt in a cooked dish. Yes, so that Kirill began to spit just tasting. sprinkled something in the laundry detergent to spoil the clothes of his son, and after all his intrigues complained about her daughter-in-law. You see how inept she is, everything has to be redone for her. Alyona could not complain to her husband about the injustice. She understood that her husband should not choose between her and Nina Sergeyevna. She had been brought up to respect her elders. All the more so, it was the mother of her favorite person. But then the mother-in-law had to stop nagging her daughter-in-law. Alina announced the happy news: she is pregnant. Kirill was happy. He carried his wife in his arms, fulfilled her every whim. Nina Sergeyevna was angry, but could not change anything. This girl completely possessed her son. Now she will give birth to a child, and now entirely and completely her favorite Kiryusha will be in her power. Soon Kirill and Alyona had a healthy and beautiful baby boy. The parents decided to name him Michael in honor of his grandfather. It would seem that now Alyona and her mother-in-law should begin friendly relations after all. She became a grandmother. But no, everything became only worse. Nina Sergeyevna now came up with a new plan to divorce her son from his wife. She began to systematically, from time to tell her son, when not her daughter-in-law, "Kiryusha, you look closely at the boy. He is clearly not in our breed. Mom, he was just born. All babies resemble each other," laughing replied Kirill. "But he doesn't even look like Alyona. Did it not occur to you that this may not be your son?" Mother said snidely. "Please, Mom, do not talk nonsense. I understand that you don't like Alyona, but don't go overboard. I don't like this kind of talk." Day after day went by. Nina Sergeyevna began to fuel the conflict more subtly. Once, when Misha fell ill, Nina Sergeyevna openly told her son in front of her daughter-in-law, "Kirill, I can no longer tolerate in the house the constant crying of the child. She and the wife is no wife, and a bad mother. She made the child sick, and now she doesn't take care of him." "What are you saying, Nina Sergeyevna?" Alyona was indignant. "I am a good mother. I love Miss Henka. All children get sick, and when they get sick they cry. I told you, she's not your match. Look at the child carefully. He's not ours." From all domestic scandals Kirill hid at work, and Alyona was left alone with her mother-in-law hating her. Miss Henka was sick, she hardly slept, only Sunny fell asleep. As began nagging mother-in-law, the girl was very tired. From the constant nagging became nervous and irritable. She was already openly saying to her mother-in-law, "Well, what have I done to you badly? Why do you torment me?" Cyril and already, because of scandals, tries to be at home as little as possible. After these words of the daughter-in-law, Nina Sergeyevna came up with a new plan to free her son and herself from the hated daughter-in-law, and began to realize it. One day mother-in-law came to Alyona and pulled her by the hand. "Come on, honey, I'll show you something." In a tragic voice she addressed her daughter-in-law. The mother-in-law led her daughter-in-law into the bathroom and pointed her finger at Kirill's shirt. "See the lipstick mark. Why do you think he stays so late at work? Do you think Kiryusha has a mistress? And how else to explain it? You've become so nervous. Perhaps he is better somewhere else. You see, he's rarely home now." Alyona didn't sleep all night. She looked at her husband and didn't want to believe that he had a woman on the side. Time after time, the mother-in-law instilled in the young woman the idea of cheating on her husband, and it was always accompanied by either traces of lipstick on Kirill's clothes or the smell of women's perfume. Finally, completely exhausted by constant hints, mother-in-law, jealousy and suspicion, Alyona openly told her husband, "I can no longer, so, Kirill, if you love another, say it directly. I do not have the strength to tolerate more nagging, Nina Sergeyevna. I cannot see on your clothes traces of other women, their odors. I'm very tired. I can't live like this. I'll go to my parents." Alyona cried. Nothing incomprehensible. Kirill hugged his wife. "Alyonushka, my love, I have no one. I do not understand what is going on in this house. I understand. My mom is not sugar with a temper, but I always hoped that you'd find a common language in the end. After all, we all already have Mishka." But Alyona could no longer contain herself. "I've been living with you for 2 years in this apartment, and all this time I just cut off the oxygen. Said what I'm useless, and the mistress terrible. And as it turns out, a good wife from me, and did not turn out, as your mother says. I never complained, but I can no longer pretend that all is well. I'm not ironclad. Take my son, I need to calm down." Alyona put the baby in her father's arms and left the apartment. She didn't know where she was going or where she wanted to go, she just walked and cried. How pleasant it was for her to cry and wash away all the accumulated resentment, irritation and despair with her tears. What had she done wrong? Why didn't her mother-in-law accept her? Why things are not working out the way she dreamed? She has a husband she loves, a son she loves, only her husband's mother decided to declare war on her. Who is she to compete with the mother of her beloved? She has lost. There is no more future for them. Smearing tears, Alyona sat down on a bench. Suddenly someone nearby asked, "What kind of grief makes a young girl cry so much?" Alyona turned to the voice and saw an old woman sitting on the same bench. "You have something happened, tell me." "Believe me, girl, a stranger to tell everything is much easier than to confess to your family." And something in this old woman was so warm and close, so calm and understanding that Alina, choking with tears, told her about all her problems and hardships. When the girl was silent, the old woman quietly said, "My girl, my husband died 20 years ago. My son died 10 years ago. I have no one with whom I could fight or cry. I go back to the empty apartment and sit in the dark. When family and loved ones aren't around, there is no one to live for, and nothing to live for. Believe me, the fact that you are suspicious of your husband and don't find common ground with your mother-in-law only says to me that you have them. They're your family. Just imagine that they are gone immediately, you will understand how to behave." After these words, Alina suddenly stopped crying. But it's true. Everything can be coped with. Her beloved husband, her son, even Nina Sergeyevna, she was her family too. Alina suddenly realized what she should do and turned around to thank her grandmother. But she had already left. Alyona returned home, bathed her son, fed him and put him to bed. She fed her husband and asked him, "Kiryusha, tonight I want to have a heart-to-heart talk with your mom. You do not interfere with us, okay?" "Well, thank God. Finally my favorite women will try to find a common language. I'll take Miss Henka to our bedroom for such an occasion, and we won't disturb you." Alyona sat at the table and knocked on Nina Sergeyevna's door. "Nina Sergeyevna, let's go to the kitchen. I need to have a serious talk with you." The mother-in-law came out of the room and looked at Alyona incredulously. Something happened, she asked quietly. She didn't want to talk, but she went into the kitchen. Here she saw the table set, a bottle of wine and only 2 glasses. "I do not understand, Alyona, what is happening now, but I do not like it." The woman frowned. Alyona sat her mother-in-law at the table, poured wine into the glasses and began her speech. "Nina Sergeyevna, forgive me if, thanks to my appearance, it seemed to you that you are losing your son. Kirill has always loved and will always love you. No one closer to his mother was and will not be. But I also love my husband. We have a son, Miss Henka. He is named in honor of your husband Kirill's dad. I really want us to find common ground for the sake of our beloved man. A few hours ago one very wise old woman told me that if I cannot find a common language with someone, if I am worried about a quarrel with my relatives, it means that I am not alone in this world. It means that I have a family, and only in my power to keep it. I respect you. You are the mother of my dearest person. You are the grandmother of my beloved Miss Henka, and that means you are my family forever. I will respect and love you. Try to meet me halfway. Let's make our family happy together." Alyona drank her glass to the bottom and looked at her mother-in-law. Nina Sergeyevna, as if for the first time, saw Alyona. How can it be so? After all, this girl is telling the truth. She herself, by her own hand, for her ridiculous worries, almost jeopardized the life of her son. This lovely girl, her only grandson. Finally, what happened that she, always such a decent woman, began to do outrages, then against her daughter-in-law, then against her son, trying to break them up. Touched to the depths of her soul by the deed of her daughter-in-law, the woman's eyes glistened with tears. "Alyonushka, forgive me, I'm a fool. I didn't realize what I was doing. It was me who smeared Kiryusha's shirts with lipstick and sprayed them with perfume. Only now, after your wise words, I realize that I not only you and Kiryusha life spoiled, but also my self-deprived family. Everything will be different now, believe me." 2 women all night talked in the kitchen, crying, laughing, talking again. By morning they had already become best friends. When in the morning, A sleepy Kirill appeared in the kitchen. He asked in surprise, "Did you guys not sleep at all? And why are you so happy?" Buried the hatchet. Alyona and Nina Sergeyevna looked at each other and laughed happily. A month later, Alyona persuaded her mother-in-law to go to the sea to rest and relax. Nina Sergeyevna, "Everything at home will be fine, don't worry. We'll call each other every day. Go quietly and relax to the fullest." Kirill bought his mother a voucher to a sanatorium, and Nina Sergeyevna went on vacation. After the rest returning home, the woman said to her family, "Today you are in for a surprise. Remember, Kiryusha, how you presented me yours? True. Then I did not even suspect what gold you will bring home." Mother-in-law looked fondly at her daughter-in-law. In the evening, Alyona helped Nina Sergeyevna to dress up, do her hair, and at a certain time the doorbell rang. An elegant man stood on the threshold. Nina Sergeyevna took his hand and introduced him. "Meet Anatoly Vladimirovich, a retired colonel, a widower. We met at the sanatorium, and we decided to continue our relationship afterwards." Nina Sergeyevna, "Congratulations, you're very good, and you have very good taste," rejoiced Alyona. "Well, Mom, you're crazy. Come in, Anatoly Vladimirovich. It's very nice to meet you." Kirill escorted the guest into the kitchen, and Nina Sergeyevna confided in Alyona. "Alyonushka, my dear, thank you. Anatoly is as lonely as I was thanks to you. I realize that life goes on, that I am already happy, that I have you and Kiryusha, Miss Henka, and now it turns out I can be happy as a woman. I'll always remember our night in the kitchen with gratitude." Nina Sergeyevna, "Mother, we're glad you found your new love, but no matter what happens, you know that you are our family, always have been and always will be. No more intrigue, accusations or misunderstandings in their family." Now, thanks to the wisdom the daughter-in-law had shown to her mother-in-law, they found love and peace. Everyone in this story was happy in their own way, and they didn't need more than that.